you fall, I will catch you, I'll be waiting, time after time.
What's up guys, Jared here with another galaxy-wide movie review. So Walt Disney is doing a great job at mining some of these older properties to bring them to the big screen, along with getting some top-notch directorial talent to make them come to life. And that's exactly the case for this new film, A Wrinkle in Time, directed by Ava DuVernay. So is this a hot new family movie, or is this a tired out old story with too many wrinkles? Let's find out. So A Wrinkle in Time is based on the 1962 novel by the same name. There was also a 2003 television movie, but let's forget about that. This 2018 movie opens to the introduction of Meg Murray, who is a somewhat troubled teenager. You eventually find out it's because of her father, played by Chris Pine, who is working on time travel and theorizing about tesseracts. Disappeared 4 years ago. However, when out of nowhere, 3 supernatural beings reveal themselves as Mrs. Who, Mrs. What's-It, and Mrs. Witch and tell Meg that her father is still alive. She, her brother, and a fellow classmate go on an interdimensional journey to find her missing father. But as they get closer to finding him, an evil presence moves in, calling itself the It, and things begin to not seem as they appear. Personally, I've never read A Wrinkle in Time. I guess it's this beloved book, but going into this movie was sort of an experience because I did not know what to expect. Anyways, the visuals to this movie were spectacular to say the least. The scenery and atmosphere of many of the scenes really were visually appealing and made you pay attention to the close details of each frame. These fantastical, colorful scenes were shot in such a way to say that they were amazing to say the least. 2 of which come to mind was one with a beach scene with all of these colorful umbrellas and beachgoers, while the other was a basketball scene that was kind of featured in one of the trailers. Just the way that they were shot made it feel somewhat different and unreal. Besides the eyegasms, the costumes and makeup of the 3 supernatural beings were impressive. Multiple scenes having these futuristic elaborate outfits, and then in the next scene they'd be changed, and then again in the next. You get an outfit, you get an outfit, everyone gets an outfit! It really added to the fantasy portion of the film. Oh, and then their hair and makeup was literally out of this world. Oprah had diamond eyebrows, and Mindy Kaling's hair was crazy and wild in pretty much every scene. Now, A Wrinkle in Time was fantastic looking, but besides that, it really didn't have much going for it. It's sort of like the smoking hot blonde in class that says like too much. The story and plot are all over the place. In a general sense, the father goes missing and the daughter must find him. That's the plot. But everything is set up in such a jumbled manner and unfolds as though you should know who these characters are or what is going on. I hadn't a damn clue who Oprah was supposed to be. Are these supposed to be like 3 space traveling fairy godmothers? And then the story unfolds in such a way that characters are introduced for pretty much no reason, Zach Galifianakis for some reason, and then just forgotten. Besides the confusion and the clunkiness of the story, it really did drag on, especially for the first 2/3. We're taken to a fantastical place only to be bored by simple dialogue. I have to say it, this movie is really boring. It sort of picks up towards the later half, but it's too late. Aside from the story, all of the characters are really good looking, as I mentioned earlier, but once they started talking and their dialogue, it was just like, no. None of the characters really had any backstory or development or were any sort of interesting. There was the young little kid, Charles Wallace, who was endearing and interesting and funny, but other than that, not much stood out. For example, Mindy Kaling's character, who quoted all of these other characters, just felt out of place. Lastly, there was some really rough CGI material in this. Don't get me wrong, this is a really gorgeous movie. There's some good stuff going on in this, but there's some CG elements that really take you out of it. For example, there's this one scene where characters are in a cavern supposed to be balancing on rocks, and it is 100% fake. And if that does not take you out of the movie, the scene where Reese Witherspoon turns into a giant flying piece of kale surely will. Overall, A Wrinkle in Time is a beautiful children's sci-fi movie that does not live up to the hype or praise. With some beautiful visuals and gorgeous costuming, but with an incoherent plot, a story that just dragged on, boring characters, and rough CGI, I'd skip out on A Wrinkle in Time. It's definitely not the worst movie out there. I just wouldn't waste my time. What did you think of A Wrinkle in Time? Was it the fantastical Disney adaptation you were hoping for? Or was this just a beautiful mess? I want to hear about it in the comments below. As always, you can find me on the social medias at Jared Buckendahl on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and now Stardust. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, I'll see you later.